Oh, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my backup channel. Let me briefly explain what's going on here. The reason I'm making videos and uploading on this channel now is because Fear No Man got a strike. So I'm done with that for at least a week. And here's the reason. I'll briefly explain why I got the strike. Kind of interesting. It was actually on a music live stream I did probably about 3 weeks ago or something. I don't know. It was called Friday Rock. And evidently within the live stream I talked about something I shouldn't have, and I don't even recall, to be honest with you. Which is funny to me because they said, you can appeal this. I'm like, well, how am I going to appeal it when you took the video down? I don't even know what I said. But anyway, weird. But apparently I said something regarding medical misinformation, or they labeled it as medical misinformation. So they gave me a strike. So the channel's down for at least a week. So I'm going to upload on this backup channel. So thank you to Tina and to Chad for sharing the short video upload, and the one from Jamie Walden that I uploaded on this channel already, to help me out with that. And thank you to new subscribers and anybody else that may subscribe to this channel. I appreciate it. Appreciate it all. I have quite a few things to talk to y'all about, as you might imagine, with everything that's going on. But it's interesting because I'm titling this, get off the bench, first of all, and I'll explain that, and then, order out of chaos. Okay, so it's kind of like a double whammy here. So let me explain to you first what's inspiring this video. Yesterday morning, I get a text message from a good friend, and they asked me this funny question. They said, "I've been gone all weekend. What's going on?" Pretty much, paraphrasing. What I miss, kind of thing. I'm like, well, too much to text, and can't really talk to you about it right now. So just check out my community page. Check out the Fear No Man community page if you want. I've pretty much been keeping people updated and informed on that. And and then they told me where they were, and I just thought this was really cool. I mean, with all the chaos and craziness and just the insanity going on in the world, in this country right now, I just thought this was really cool because you got to live life. I mean, like look at this beautiful day right now. I mean, it's just gorgeous. I mean, the sky's blue. I don't see any trails, at least not in my view right now. I mean, the sun is out. It's shining. It's 39 degrees. I mean, let's get warmer later, but that's not too bad anyway. I mean, it's just a nice drive. I mean, you got to enjoy life. I mean, of course, I'm headed to work eventually and so forth, but on the way, look at this beautiful scenery. I mean, just look at that. It's just gorgeous, I mean, look at that. So, anyway, as I'm, so when I get their text message, and they're telling me about their son and the basketball tournament they were at, and how well their son did, and man, I mean, this young man is just an awesome athlete, and they share quite a few things with me about their son, and his baseball exploits. I mean, the kid can hit. What can I say? He's just a really good athlete, at least baseball, and in this case basketball. And he even played in a league, I guess in a tournament with boys, young men who were older than him, and he still gets the MVP. That's how good he is. I mean, it's like a young Jim Thorpe or something here. I mean, this kid just excels. He's just an excellent athlete. So I appreciate that they shared that with me, and and it just did my heart good, because I was like, wow, that is really cool. It's cool, that your kid is doing so well. Your son is doing so well. It's cool that he's excelling. It's cool that he gets the MVP. I mean, it's just cool. I mean, it's good for parents to be able to enjoy their kids' accomplishments and achievements, and to be proud of their children and so forth. I thought that was really cool. I appreciated them sharing that with me. So I got to thinking, after I got done texting with them or what have you, I got to thinking a little bit, and then I watched a teaching from Jamie Walden called Spiritual Warfare, Matters of the Heart, Spiritual Warfare, which I actually shared to the Fear No Man community page, and people can look it up themselves if they want to. Excellent, excellent teaching, and that really got me thinking. And then so what I started thinking about was, you know, so many people are sitting on the bench, you know, and whether they realize it or not, some people want to sit on the bench, they're happy there, they're content there. Other people, maybe they feel like that they're not worthy to get into the game, they don't know how to get into the game, so to speak. Maybe they think they're not good enough, whatever, I don't know. But I started thinking about back when I was in the Navy, and something else that got my attention too is, you know, I used to coach. I coached soccer. That was a disaster. I'm a much better assistant coach than a coach. But I coached soccer of young kids, 5-6-year-olds, years ago. And like I said, that didn't work out too well. But it was one of those things where if a parent didn't step up and coach, the kids couldn't play. So I just kind of stepped up, even though I really wasn't a very good coach. But I'm a much better assistant coach. And then later on, I was an assistant coach for my son and daughter's basketball teams when they were much younger. And so, I mean, I always enjoyed sports, basketball and so forth, and all kinds of other different sports. And so I started thinking about that. But then what really got my attention, you know, more than being an assistant coach and so forth, and, you know, and just enjoying coaching the young people, was when I was in the Navy. I was stationed at Naval Hospital, Pensacola, and I had an opportunity to play basketball for the command team. And there wasn't tryouts or anything, because you're in the Navy, you're not in college, you're not in high school or anything like that. I mean, and the Navy comes first, okay? I mean, you've got to, you know, if you have to work late, or if you have duty or whatever, you can't go to practice or the games. It's just that simple. The Navy comes first. If you can't find anybody to, you know, switch duty days with, like, you know, when you're off work and you're basically on watch or what have you, you got to do it. It's just that simple. So it's kind of like you show up when you can kind of thing. But the guys that I played with were really, really good ball players. And this is not a race thing, okay? It's just a universal assumption, all right? Which is true for the most part. White men can't jump, okay? And for the most part, white men are not as good at basketball players as, you know, African Americans, okay? It's just true, for the most part. Okay, there are exceptions, you know, and everybody, I was the only white dude on the team, okay? I don't know why other guys didn't want to play. I tried to get some of my buddies, you know, who were white to play, but they were like, no, we're good, you know, like, and they were much better players than I was. But you know what, I'm not going to let that stop me. You know, I like basketball, I want to play, I want to be on the team. I hardly ever got to play. Showed up to all the practices, you know, did my best, but I just simply wasn't good enough. These guys were really good players. Matter of fact, we wound up winning the Captain Cups championship that year. You know, and we would play teams all throughout the other commands in Pensacola, whether it be Naval Air Station, Corey Station, what have you. Just the different commands throughout the whole Pensacola region, which there's a lot of, you know, military bases there, posts and whatnot. So, anyway, but there was one time, and I don't remember all the circumstances, where not everybody could show up or what have you, but somehow I was able to get into the game, which was rare, okay? And if I did get in the game, it was just for a few minutes. And to be honest, I mean, I tried, I played hard, but I would mess up a lot because I just didn't get a lot of playing time. And, you know, and I had only been playing basketball since I was like 16 years old. And at this time, I'm like, what, 22, I guess, something like that. So, anyway, I would get called for 3 seconds a lot. If anybody knows anything about basketball, you know, you try to post up in the lane, you know, to get the ball. But if you don't move out of the key and you stand there too long, you get called for 3 seconds. That's a turnover. So the ball goes to the other team. And I'm just like, oh, man. And so the coach is upset, the players are upset. It's like, oh, good job, Roberts, you know, kind of thing. I'm like, all right. So a lot of times I would get pulled. But there was one time we didn't have enough players show up or whatever, and I got to start the game and play a good portion of the game. And I decided, you know what? I'm finally coming off the bench in a way where I might be able to make an impact. And I'm not a good basketball player, but I'm not terrible either, okay? If you leave me alone, I'll hit the shots, all right? And so I go in the game, and the other team, they'd never seen me before. They probably figured I couldn't play, and for the most part, they were right. But they showed me no respect whatsoever. None at all. And so I was open a lot. And so you're moving the ball around and stuff, you know, and if some guys aren't open, they'll eventually pass it to you or whatever. And if they pass it to me and I've got the shot, nobody's guarding me, I'll look for the pass, but if it's not there, I take the shot. And I could shoot, you know, especially if nobody was guarding me. And so this game, I knocked down about 10 points, you know, and before they finally guard me, and then I'm shut down after that. They finally figure out, hey, this guy can shoot. We can't leave him alone. But I started thinking about that, you know. I was like, man, that was like a glory day for me, you know. That was a glory night for me. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I played really well. You know, it was like one of the last games of the season. If I did play in the championship, I don't remember, because I just remember that. Because coming off the bench, getting in the game, and making the most of my opportunity, you know. And like I said, we did win the Captain's Cup championship because we had a really good team. And so anyway, I started thinking about that from a spiritual aspect, you know, and listening to Jamie Walden's teaching on spiritual warfare. I started thinking about, you know, so many people are sitting on the bench, whether they, like I said, whether they want to or they just don't know what to do when they get in the game, you know, because they don't have the experience. They haven't practiced enough. They're not prepared like they should be. And so when their number is called, so to speak, they have a choice. They can either continue to sit on the bench and say, no, coach, I'm not going in. I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I'm scared, whatever else the situation is. Or they can say, you know what? My number's finally been called. I'm going to get in the game. I'm going to do my best, you know, and I'm going to, you know, on a spiritual aspect, I'm going to serve the Lord. I'm going to obey him. I'm going to love him. I'm going to do what he tells me to do. You know, and getting into the spiritual warfare aspect of this, you're in a war whether you want to be or not. I don't know if people realize that, but you were born into it. Okay? You're in a battle. You're in a war, whether you recognize that or not. So you might as well fight. From a spiritual aspect, I'm talking about. You might as well armor up and you might as well fight. Because think about this. This week could be very, very interesting. I've already looked at a few things. People have sent me quite a few things. It appears that this week and beyond, you know, whether it's this week or not, but it does appear that it might be this week, could get very bad very quickly. You know, they've got a lot of things planned. Now, are they going to get their plans? Are their plans going to come to fruition? I have no idea. I don't know. But think about it from this aspect. What are you going to do as a follower of Jesus Christ? You know, I'm presuming most people that listen to this are a follower of our Lord. What are you going to do when your number gets called? What are you going to do when it's time to come off the bench? I mean, and those people that have been in the game for a long time, I'm not talking to you. I'm not. I'm talking people that have been sitting on the bench, sitting the pine, basically. The sixth man that never gets in the game kind of thing. You know, what do you do when your number's called? I mean, are you going to just continue to sit there and say, nope, not me. I'm not doing it. Nope, I'm not ready, not prepared, not going to get into the fight, not going to get into the game? Or are you going to say, yeah, put me in, coach. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to do what you want me to do, you know? But here's the thing about that. You know, whether people choose to sit the pine, sit on the bench still, which isn't a good option, or they get in the game, they have to be ready. They have to be prepared, right? So how do you get prepared spiritually like this? Well, like I said, that spiritual warfare teaching from Jamie Walden I thought was very excellent in that way. But think about it like this. When it finally does hit the fan in a major major way, whether it's this week, next week, or what have you, you know. And things start happening in a bad way, in a major way, and you're out in public or what have you, and maybe you can't get home, or you get stuck in a situation, whether it be at work or somewhere else or whatever, and things start getting really, really bad. What are you going to do? Are you going to go hide, or are you going to get into the fight? I mean, from a spiritual aspect, are you going to lay hands on the sick and raise the dead? You know, or are you going to say, nope, not me? I mean, and the only way people are going to be able to perform these things, to do these things, is if they walk in the authority and power of Jesus Christ, you know, Yeshua HaMashiach. That's the only way people are going to be able to do these things. You can't do it in your own power. You have to do it through the power and the authority of Jesus Christ, right? You have to speak it. You have to believe it. You know, it is written kind of thing. You know, and Jesus said that we will do greater things than he did because he goes to the Father. What do you think he meant by that? So people have to be ready for those opportunities, for those situations when they arise. The only way that happens is by spending time with the Lord, by reading the Word, getting with like-minded believers that can encourage and support you and help you out to grow and even hold you accountable, correction when needed, and being willing to accept that correction. All of these things are a part of that. All of these things. So I just encourage everyone to get off the bench. If you're sitting on the bench, get off the bench. If you're in the game, stay in the game. Don't quit. Don't give up. You know, it's interesting, listen to Jamie Walden, you know, because he's a Marine. He's got that Marine mindset. I was never actually a Marine, even though I had to go through an accelerated Marine Corps boot camp called Field Medical Service School for combat medicine training, you know, as a corpsman and so forth. And they taught you all about the rank structure, how to be a Marine. You know, we did a lot of the things the Marines did. We had to pass their physical fitness tests at the end. You know, so it was like an accelerated Marine Corps boot camp, but it didn't make you a Marine. It just gave you that mindset. The improvise, adapt, and overcome, the honor, courage, and commitment, which is, you know, the core values of the Navy and the Marine Corps. 'Cause I know the Marines hate this, but it's a fact. The Marines are a department of the Navy. I just had to throw that out there. But I also understand the Marines are their own separate entity, and they have a mindset that a lot of people don't have. It's this never say die mindset, that you stay in the fight no matter what. You stay in the fight until you can fight no longer. And, you know, and I was with Marines and, you know, in Desert Shield and Storm and so forth. People know that who've listened to the channel before. And, you know, I served with them in Camp Lejeune and, you know, Reconnaissance Intelligence Group and things of that nature. So even though I was never a Marine, I kind of felt like one because I spent so much time with them in the barracks and patching them up and, you know, and teaching first aid and all the rest of these things. You know, having to do everything they had to do plus more, I kind of felt like one. So you kind of adopt that mindset as well, that never say die, never quit mindset, to the point where, you know, you're very confident, maybe even overly confident in certain things. But that is that Marine Corps mindset. I'm just explaining to you that's the way they think. That's the way they're trained. That's what they believe. And so, but I don't think that, I think it would behoove people that follow Jesus Christ, you know, our Lord and Savior, to adopt that mindset as well. That never say die, never say quit mindset, you know, to stay in the fight no matter what. Because like I said, you're in a battle, you're in a war whether you want to be or not. It's upon you whether you recognize it or realize it or not. It's a spiritual war, and very soon it could be a physical, and probably will be a physical war. So, you know, when it comes to these things, let's talk about what could happen this week. Well, so far, you know, I'm hearing 186 banks could be on the bubble. You know, at one time I had information, as well as other people, that was like 30. Well, now it's like to 186 banks, and some of them could be the bigger banks now. So, I mean, that is significant, you know. So, you know, think about that. for one. For two, if 45 is actually arrested, indicted, or whatever tomorrow, how are people going to respond and react to that? You got to be prepared for that. You got to be thinking about that. How are your coworkers? How are your family? How are people that you know? How are they going to respond? How are they going to react to that? And what are you going to do? What's your plan? I would advise people to stay out of it. Okay? Do not get wrapped up in this left-right garbage, this, all of these paradigms and agendas and everything. You just serve the Lord. You just do what the Lord's telling you to do. You just obey the Lord. Don't get wrapped up in this stuff. Don't get caught up in it. As much as you can, avoid this, because ultimately the goal is order out of chaos, right? They create the chaos so they can bring in the order that they want. And the way they create their chaos is to make us hate each other, fight against each other, come against each other, be angry, be frustrated, be confused, to where we come against each other. That's what they want. And remember, the rules, as far as the bailouts go and everything, that applies to them, not us. They don't give a rip about us. Okay, we're on our own when it comes to this stuff. Okay, I mean, you got to be led by the Holy Spirit on what to do regarding your finances, and whether you take money out of the bank, keep it in, how much, so forth and so on. If you even have money to take out of the bank, whatever the Holy Spirit is leading you to do to prepare for this week and beyond, that's what you need to do. But, looking again at this week, if 45 is arrested tomorrow, yeah, I would say expect some chaos, expect some protest. And here's what's concerned me about that. When he posted about, basically, I might be arrested, or I'm going to be arrested on Tuesday, protest and take our nation back. Now, if he would have just left it at take our nation back, or excuse me, at protest, I wouldn't have been that concerned. But he didn't do that. He said, take our nation back. Well, when you say something like take our nation back, that implies that something's been stolen, that you've been stolen from, and that makes people angry. Nobody likes a thief, right? So if someone feels that something's been stolen from them, then they may be inclined to use violence to take it back. So that terminology right there really disturbed me. Like I said, if he would have just said protest, I would have been like, okay, protest, I got you. That can go one way or another. But when you say take our nation back, I'm like, oh, that's not good. This isn't good at all. So that got my attention, and I'm wondering if people are going to respond to that in a negative way. And if that is the case, we need to be ready. We need to be ready for whatever that may entail. Now, think about this too. Wednesday is 3/22, 3/22. Thursday's 3/23. Okay, so both of those days could be very significant. All right, and if that is the case, all right, be prepared for that not only, but it also starts Ramadan, which to me is very interesting because most of the time that starts in like the summer, but this year it goes from March 22nd to April 21st. So think about that. Think about that. What has happened in past years. And even this week alone, I mean, this is the anniversary of the beginning of the Iraq War. I think today, as a matter of fact, March 20th, if I recall, 2003. So, but, Ramadan begins on 3/22. So think about that as well. And what's happened in past years around this time frame, historically speaking, and the potential there. So this could be a very chaotic, violent week. This is something people are going to need to pay attention to. something people are going to need to be prepared for. So, anyway, I think I'll just leave it at that for now. I don't have a community page on here. I'm doing my best with what I can right now. I did share some things before they took the channel down for a week on Fear No Man on the community page that people might be interested in, some predictive programming. I didn't even mention this, but The Dark Knight Rises, in my opinion, in recent years, I know the movie's like 11 years old, is probably the most prophetic film that I have seen regarding their plan. I think that they pretty much show the playbook in that movie for the most part. And there's even a scene where the stadium explodes, the football stadium explodes, where, or implodes, I should say. And the mayor and the higher ups are in suite 322. It literally shows 322. And then that suite blows up and it traps the police underground when the football stadium implodes. And then I think about the possibility of the fiery kickoff event, where if people, recall that from years ago, people say, well, football season's over, so, who knows about that? Well, I thought so too, but you know what's going on right now? And it's not that big of a deal overall, because probably most people don't pay attention to it. It's only 8 teams, and the season only lasts for like a month. The XFL. So football season is technically still going on. There are kickoffs happening on a football field. The XFL is happening. I think the final game or the championship game is early April or something like that. I haven't watched it. I just kind of know about it. So that's still happening. And then you do have, the prophetic word from at least one individual that said that by the end of this month, there would be disasters on both coasts. Didn't say the given exact date. It didn't say if it would be simultaneous, could be days or hours between each other, but that's what they said. Is that true? I don't know. It's the only thing I've heard about it. We will find out. But if you live on the coast, you might want to be ready. That's all I can say about that. So I think that's about all I have. Like I said, Fear No Man is still up, so people can go to the community page, look at videos or whatever if they want to. That's your choice. But for now, I'll just post on here when I, upload videos here when I feel like I need to, or the Lord puts something on my heart to share with you all. And again, I thank everyone for your assistance and your support, your love, your kindness. And I was going to get into something else, but I don't think I will. It's kind of negative. I don't want to go there. But thank you all once again. I appreciate it. Take care. God bless you. And I hope you all have a very good Monday. And if I don't talk to you again on here, and I don't know if I will or not, a good week ahead. All right. Be blessed. Bye-bye.